Many of my good friends over the years have come to me and said, "You know what, Grant? I would love to play Commander with you and two other fine fellows within my own Discord server, igniting interest in the format within the community since I'd be playing it, but it's been years since I've updated my one Commander deck 5-color allies, and I don't want to just get rolled over. Is this a problem you or a loved one you know is suffering with?" Well, boy, do I have good news for you. I've created an entire 5-color allies commander deck from the ground up, completely upgraded and updated, and perfectly ready to smash some faces through the power of friendship. Let's jump right into the deck tech, shall we? To get us started, let's go over the core theme and plan of the deck. Allies are a tribe unique to the plane of Zendikar. The residents of this constantly shifting world were forced to band together and unite against a potentially world-ending threat, the otherworldly Eldrazi that had been imprisoned on the plane. Allies come in all shapes and colors, and each ally brings a unique effect to the group, usually getting stronger as you collect more and more allies. We won't look at every single one, but let's take a look at a few key standouts to get a good understanding of what the deck is planning to do. First, we'll start with who we've chosen as our commander for the deck, General Tazri. Tazri is the leader of the allies, and rightfully so. When she enters the battlefield, we'll get to search our deck for any ally we think will fit the situation and add it to our hand. She also has a very powerful activated ability, where we can spend our mana to make all our allies more powerful for the turn, up to +5/+5 if we have all 5 colors of allies out. Just activating this ability once or twice in a single turn can mean the end of the game for one or all of our opponents. There are some people out there that have a certain notion that they'd pick a different commander. We'll talk more about that later, and if that is the case, we'd almost certainly still want Tazri somewhere in the deck itself. Some other standout creatures are Akum Battlesinger and Kazul Warlord, making all our allies stronger as they enter, Kalastria Healer and Hagra Diabolist, both of which drain our opponents when we play more of our allies, and Lantern Scout or Resolute Blademaster, giving all our allies additional keywords when you have any enter the field. We'll also play a few non-ally creatures, such as Soul Herder and Feyburrow Elder, just because they work well with our particular strategy, as well as some shapeshifters like Mirror Image or Realm Walker, since they'll technically count as allies and let us have additional powerful effects. Our lands are not particularly interesting. We're just focusing on making sure we have all our colors of mana each game, so there's really not much room for anything outside of making sure our mana is well fixed. Some particularly interesting ones, though, are Command Tower, which will let us tap for all 5 colors since our commander has all 5 in its color identity, as well as Ally Encampment, Path of Ancestry, Unclaimed Territory, and Secluded Courtyard, all of which will let us tap for all 5 colors for our allies. Lastly, we have our support spells, which fill in any gaps our deck may have and help our deck function at its best. Ramp spells like Cultivate and Farseek will make sure that our mana is correct, in addition to some mana artifacts like Chromatic Lantern or Arcane Signet. Guardian Project, Kindred Discovery, and Vanquisher's Banner will all make sure we never run out of cards to play, while Teleportation Circle, Conjurer's Closet, and Panharmonicon all get us extra value from our sweet, sweet ally triggers. Kindred Charge, Molten Echoes, and Reflections of Littjara will give us extra copies of the allies we play, which can lead to some really crazy shenanigans with our ally triggers too. Boros Charm and Heroic Intervention will both help protect us from big board wipes, and both Eerie Interlude and Semester's End will protect our board as well, but also just potentially end the game at once by getting so many ally triggers all at once when they re-enter the field together. That does pretty much wrap up our deck tech overall, but wait! There's more. I hear you thinking, this is fantastic and the best commander deck that I've ever seen, Grant, but aren't a few of these cards a little expensive? I know the entire deck is totaling around $150 on TCG Player, and I probably have a bunch of the cards anyway since I'm just updating my list, but I don't want to break the bank. Well, worry not, anonymous viewer who this definitely couldn't possibly be directed at. I decided to take that excuse right out of your damn dirty mouth before you could even say it, and I've come up with possible alternatives to every card in the list that's more than $10. First up, we have Birds of Paradise. Birds is the best ramp spell possible for a 5-color deck as a creature that can tap for any color for just a single green mana. Some alternatives to this $15 mana dork, however, are Paradise Druid, Ornithopter of Paradise, and Elysian Caryatid, all of which can still tap for any color of mana. If you're in the market for a dork that costs 1 mana, however, try Alvison's Pilgrim, Llanowar Elves, or Elvish Mystic. Next, we have Guardian Project, Kindred Discovery, and Vanquisher's Banner, all of which draw us a lot of cards and keep our hand nice and full. While these are fantastic cards in our deck, we can still make sure our hand is well stocked with other card draw effects from cards like Reconnaissance Mission, Bident of Thassa, or Shamanic Revelation. The +1/+1 effect to our allies is also strong from Vanquisher's Banner, but we can substitute that for Rally the Ranks, Rhythm of the Wild, or Mirari's Wake. Heroic Intervention is great at keeping our board alive and safe from a board wipe, but if you're okay with paying 1 extra mana, Make a Stand and Unbreakable Formation both do a pretty great impression of the same effect. Lastly, Chromatic Lantern is usually a must in any 5-color deck, but if our budget is really tight, we could substitute other artifacts in that tap for 5 colors, like Commander Sphere, Darksteel Ingot, or Pillar of Origins. Panharmonicon is hovering right at $10 at the time of recording, but there's also unfortunately not another card in the game that has a similar effect, outside of a different legendary creature that doesn't fit in our deck at all. There's really not a substitute for Panharmonicon, and it's one of the most powerful cards in our deck for this strategy. I'd just bite the bullet on the $10 for this one. And finally, we come to the end of our segment. The last thing we'll touch on is if you are so inclined to have some strange notion of not playing Tazri in the commander slot, I've come up with a few things to help our horde along in that regard. Muldrifter, Shriekmaw, Foundation Breaker, Ingot Chewer, Wispmare, and Revelark are all evoke elementals with an effect that we're pretty happy with in Commander. Using each of these for the evoke cost puts them right into the graveyard as well, perfect for our Horde of Notions to get back with its ability. Bane of Progress, Soul of the Harvest, and Flickerwisp are also other elementals that work great with our strategy, or are just super powerful in general. And that's it! I hope you've enjoyed this overview of a potential 5-color allies deck. You can find the entire deck list in the description of this video. And last, but certainly not least, you know who you are. You know what you must do. Your wife will understand. It's just for our culture as certified nerds, it's okay. Thanks for watching.